Mad World, Chapter 1. So let me tell you what went wrong. A cube shaped spaceship flew invisibly just off the orbit of Mars. Hiss, hiss, hiss. A hissing sound echoes inside it. A human wouldn't be able to see anything inside, but the aliens who were making the hissing sound didn't need light to see like humans did. If a human was able to understand them, they would hear the hissing sounds as words. I remember how it happened. I want to see how they will recreate it, said one of them. After a short pause, it continued. I can't do this. I don't want to do this. It is unsustainable now. They're close to finding out. We have to do this, the other alien answered. But the new season of The Crown is coming out later this year. Can't we wait till then? The first one said. No, we can't. You know we can't. The second one hissed loudly. Besides, why do you want to watch that? We were there when those events that will be shown in the show happened. You were literally next to the Queen, bro. I know, it is just that I wanted to see how they will do it. Will they show the truth? And more importantly, how they represent the truth. You know, said the first one. I know, buddy, but we gotta do what we gotta do. The second alien said and pressed a button in the sleek chrome interior of their ship. Meanwhile, on Earth, it was the start of the year 2020 AD. A student sat in his room of his 2-bedroom apartment, writing in his diary. I feel a longing, not for somebody that I used to know, neither for the person I was then. Lord knows that person is gone, and good riddance. I feel a longing for that feeling, a feeling that was warm and cozy, maybe not fully comfortable, but it was home. I was loved, and I had people to love. Something tangible, something to hold on to. I wish I was there again. I probably wouldn't change anything. I would just feel it fully. I would stop running away from it. I would let them know my feelings properly. I would stop holding on so tight. I would love and let them go. I wish I was better at endings, for I would give that feeling the best ending. An ending without bad blood. An ending where it was easier to mend now, years later. But we can only wish, we can only long, with the promise that next time we will do better. Next time we will not have too long. He wrote that remembering an old memory as Mad World by Gary Jules played on the small portable speaker on his study table. The smell of blueberry pie filled the room, as that was the flavor of the lit, scented candle on his table. His cat, Pitchkin Meowtoeski III, rubbed on his leg and meowed. I just fed you an hour ago, Pitchkin, he complained to her, but it kept at it. Finally, he got up from his desk and put down some cat food, but the cat ignored it. What do you want? I'm getting sick and tired of this. I'll leave you back at the shelter if you don't shut up, he said, tired and frustrated. Raj Singh was a recently graduated master's student from India. to a country about 16,000 kilometers away. He studied computer science, thinking it was a booming field, but the recent hiring freeze had seriously hindered his ability to get a job. He was running low on funds. He tried to get a menial job to get by, but the people refused to hire him. He thought it was due to the color of his skin. However, the truth was he was too socially anxious for a customer facing job and too weak for a blue collar one. He kept wishing he could just rub the brown color off his face. If I was just white, this would all be easier, he thought. It was just like back in India. He was darker than the northern Indians that he studied with, and he kept wishing he was just lighter. Maybe girls would like him. But then again, the truth was, he was too anxious. The cat started biting his ankles. "What the fuck is your problem, Pitchkin?" he said, irritated. He thought about letting her out, but the brown Turkish lady, Miss Bahar, and the white Russian guy, Mr. Anton, from across the street, were arguing again. The lady ran a kebab shop and the guy ran a small Russian grocery shop. They were always fighting about something. They called each other racist names and denigrated each other's religion on a regular basis. Police were called on a regular basis, but nobody ever pressed charges. According to them, they didn't want any trouble and had no problem with each other's racism. And to be fair, neither did the police officers who responded to these calls. They were immigrants, so who cares, right? Neither did Raj. He was more concerned that they would see the cat and tell his landlord who was against keeping pets. Raj wouldn't even get the deposit back. He couldn't afford that. Not in this economy. Where would I get a single room in a 2-bedroom house at such cheap price again, he would think. So he would let her out at night. But she was biting him too much. So he got on his bed, which was on the back side of his study table, and opened the window. Pitchkin promptly got on his bed and jumped out the window. She landed directly on the face of Raj's landlord, who was fixing something downstairs. He grabbed the cat and threw it away about 6 feet and looked up. His eyes met Raj, and Raj knew it was over. He started hyperventilating at the thought of finding a new place. The world went silent and he could hear his heartbeats. He really, truly wished that the landlord will forget that this happened. Just then, a bright blue light moved through the street like a wave and hit Raj. He was blinded for around a minute there. He was disoriented and moved around the room like Velma from Scooby-Doo, looking for her glasses. Eventually, his vision returned, slowly at first, then all at once. As it did, a brick was flying directly towards him, on course to hit his face. He ducked, and the brick landed directly in the middle of his room. He looked out to see who threw it. A white man just ran through the streets, throwing anything that he could pick up, anywhere. There was pandemonium in the streets. Parnell Street was a sight to behold. Cars had crashed into poles and nearby buildings. People ran about curiously. It was like they were not sure about anything. They checked everything with the hopeless curiosity of a child seeing the world for the first time. Some people were having sex on the street as well. The most curious of the people having sex were the two shopkeepers, Miss Bahar and Mr. Anton. They were really going at it. As Raj strained to see outside the window and beyond his field of vision, another brick whistled past him and hit the wall next to him. In his surprise and fear, he screamed, "What the fuck, man? Why did you do that?" summoning the best white accent that he could. The man who threw the brick looked at him curiously and screamed complete gibberish. Something like Gala Liga Fi Gugu. Raj felt like he was in a bad dream. There were a lot of things on fire in the streets. It smelled like burning rubber, which was now wafting into his room. He quickly got his head inside and went to the living room. His phone was not getting switched on, and none of the other electrical appliances worked either. He quickly went to the other bedroom and knocked frantically on the door. His roommate made some noises which were similar to the man on the street. Raj banged on his door again, and after a while, his roommate banged on the door as well, screaming gibberish again. This terrified him. He banged again, and his roommate banged again. He felt like his roommate was now just copying him, which felt weird. Raj was now panicking as he didn't give up banging the door. He finally realized that it was futile. He tried to calm down and compose himself. He sat down on his small coffee table, trying to think of next moves. What is happening? Why are people going crazy? He thought to himself. More importantly, why am I not going crazy? Is it a virus or something that only affects select people? What do I do now? He was thinking all this when he suddenly started feeling hot, unusually hot. He looked outside the window of the living room and he could only see fire. The fire spread quickly and decisively to the inside of the room. As it did, Raj jumped out of his chair and quickly put his pants, jacket, and shoes on. He looked at the fire as he did. It was spreading very quickly through the room. He knocked on his roommate's door one last time. He knocked back. Raj shook his head, said a little prayer, and took off. His room was on the first floor, and he made his way through the narrow stairwell. There was a lot of junk kept in the stairwell, and Raj realized that he had to get out quick because the stairwell had a lot of fuel for the fire to burn through. He got to the small gate of his building and slowly opened it. His side of the street were all two-floor high apartment buildings. The opposite side of the street were the same buildings, but they had shops on the ground floor and offices on the floor above. The chaos continued in the street, people throwing anything they could find. He also saw a person jump from the second floor of one of the offices and broke both his legs. However, looking at him jumping, Raj was sure the guy didn't want to kill himself, but he was just curious about what would happen. It smelled like burning plastic and petrol around him. Some people at the corner of the street were trying to taste the fire, while a person on fire was trying to run away from it, like the fire was a living animal. A wrecked car sat in the middle of the street. The inhabitants were not sure how to get out. He thought about letting them out. However, he was afraid of attracting attention. He thought about what his next move should be. Just then, he remembered his on again, off again girlfriend, Andrea, a student at a nearby university. They were currently off, but he cared about her. So he decided to go to her dorm. That campus was in more of a wooded area, which he hoped would be better condition than this place. He carefully made his way through the street as he didn't want to attract any attention to himself. But still, he caught the attention of one of the guys on the street who looked at him with the curiosity of a child. He threw a stick towards Raj, and Raj froze in his spot with fear. He again threw a small stick towards him, and not knowing what to do, Raj threw it back. The guy threw it back again. At that time, he realized the guy just wanted to play. Raj threw whatever he could find in his pockets towards the guy, and the guy did the same thing. That guy was just mirroring, like monkeys, in a story that Raj had read in his childhood. Monkey see, monkey do, right? He saw that the guy had a gun in a holster on his belt. Raj took out coins from his pocket but acted like he took it out of his belt and threw it at the guy. And as Raj had hoped, the guy took the gun with the holster and threw it at Raj. Raj's eyes lit up. For the first time in his life, he was holding a gun in his hand, but he didn't know how to use it. He had seen people use it, but he was not sure it will work or not. He put the gun in his jacket and started to run away from the guy. The guy was confused and he followed Raj as long as he could. But Raj was fast. He had been a sprinter in college after all. He left the guy way behind before realizing that he had given up. He looked back to see his apartment building completely in flames. He saw his roommate break his window and jump into the streets. His roommate immediately got in a fight with the guy standing there. Raj thanked God for saving him. He looked around and quickly realized that he had to fit in. He also started making noises, shouting things as he slowly made his way towards the university campus, about 5 kilometers away. And in the screaming, throwing, and shouting, he realized he had never felt this happy and powerful before. He was always the underdog who had come so far to get away from the bad memories. The memories that proved that not only was he not special, he was a creep, the lowest of lows. He didn't know then, but memories have a way of lying, of telling you that it was all your fault, even though it may just be the fault of the times. He had been too much in his thoughts to see that, too anxious. But he was free now, free of those memories. Even though he remembered it, nobody else did. By the looks of it, he was free of the prison that he had made in his mind and thrown the key away. 2 tears fell from his eyes as this thought crossed his mind. 2 tears of pure joy. A few minutes earlier, on the same street. It was a gloomy, windy day on Parnell Street. It was overcast and felt like it could rain any second, like it did in this highland country almost all the time. It was a little crowded as the New Year's market was on just around the corner. 2 shopkeepers were arguing on the other side of the street. A blond, tall man walked fast from a local dive bar after having a bad burrito. He walked like competitive walkers did, trying not to run but hurry nonetheless. He had felt his tummy rustling as soon as he had gotten out of the bar. He had felt a fart coming only a few steps later and stopped to let it out. But he felt a little bit of liquid hit his underwear as soon as he did. He stopped the fart somehow and started rushing to his flat only a couple of blocks away. He was afraid to run. He thought he will lose control on the chart if he did. Suddenly something flashed in his eyes. He stopped completely. He now looked at his hands and feet strangely, moving it in strange ways. It seemed like he was looking for words in his head when he blurted out, "Fucking hell, a narrator? What story am I in, buddy?" He asked. Me? "Yes, bro, I'm asking you. You are the narrator of the story, right?" said the blonde man, to me. Yes, sir, this is highly unusual. Who are you? How can you hear me? I, the narrator, said. I fucking hate narrators. Anyways, I'm God. Which planet am I on? What time and unit of time is it at this moment? He asked. It is Earth, sir. 2020 AD. Wait, God? Like the God? I asked. Oh fuck. Humans. Not again. Of course, I know. Don't be alarmed. I am the God. Well, one of them at least. He blurted out as people moved around him, giving him a weird look. The thing was, he had blurted out from his behind also. Gods are not used to motion control, especially loose motion control. He turned his upper body towards his butt and made a face that showed that he smelt it too. Oh fuck, I better get to the closest toilet, he said. Where will that be, narrator boy? He asked me again. This guy's home is a couple of blocks away. He was rushing there. Just that green apartment building in the distance. I said to God. You need to leave, pal, said Raj's landlord to God as he came towards him with a baseball bat. He had mistaken God for another junkie. God started running, clearly hearing me describe it. Who's Raj? God asked. The main character of the story, I answered. He nodded in understanding. This is highly unusual. Mm, God, why are you here? I asked. I am usually everywhere, so it is highly unusual to me too to be here, he said angrily as he ran. I am sorry, I'm just not used to characters hearing me narrate, I said, while I have you here. What is the meaning of life? 42, said God. What? I said. Humans don't have the senses to grasp it, so neither does the figment of their imagination like you. But the closest approximation to the meaning of life in human language would be 42, said God hurriedly as he reached the door to this guy's green apartment building. He searched his pockets for keys. He opened the door and asked, Which apartment? Oh, the first one up the stairs, I told him. The pink wall inside were in a great contrast to the green wall outside. The floor was carpeted in a dark green color. The stairs were right opposite the door. God ran up frantically and opened the apartment's door. I just couldn't understand why he was running. The deed was already done, the pants soiled by some burrito shit. God would have smelled the weird mold smell inside the apartment if he was not covered in shit. The smell is awful, that is why I am frantic, said God to me. The apartment was a mess, just like the blonde guy had liked it. The one chair in the one bedroom flat was filled with a mountain of dry clothes. An open laptop lay on the couch in the living room, but it was turned off. A couple of dishes lay in the sink. God looked at it weirdly as he went into the toilet next to the bedroom door. He quickly removed his pants, threw it in the shower, and closed the plastic door. He sat on the pot. Just then, the blue light flashed outside, and God forgot everything. If anybody saw him there, it would have looked like God shit himself stupid. Well, one of the gods at least.